topic is when the ethical climate is not so good, the curvilinear effects of rules ethical climate on organizational outcomes. Okay. Introduction. Ethical climate has gained a lot of attention because of increased focus on. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Dr. Usman, we can hear you.
Okay. I thought somebody said something. Okay, so because of increased focus on ethics and morality in the workplace in last 15 to 20 years, so ethical climates have really become focus of organizational research. Though still not much of research is done in this domain, but it has gained a lot of attention. In ethical climates, there are actually five distinct types of ethical climates that are mostly discussed in literature. Instrumental, which is self and ego-focused. Caring, which is other people-focused. Independence, that is more into the domain of empowerment and stuff. And the last two, rules and law and code, they are both rules and ethics focused. Within these, rules is more specific in nature, more micro in nature, as compared to law and code that is much broader in nature. That was the reason that we chose to focus on rules ethical climate, rules-based ethical climate, out of these different types. We are actually doing a broader study in which we are investigating other types also. So this is the first leg of that study. So it's an ongoing study in which we have done this rules part first. Principal climates, basically the environment, the culture is such that where people follow rules, where people follow policies, do not digress, and that generally leads to higher satisfaction, higher commitment, because people perceive the environment is fair, people are following the rules, and it leads to positive organizational outcomes. However, there might be a caveat in there, that what if it becomes too focused on rules? And that was one of our ideas, that, what if it becomes too restrictive, too micro in terms of management and stuff? And the idea was that, positive effects of rules and ethical climates on outcomes might be curvilinear in nature. That at extreme levels, they might show a different behavior as compared to the average level of ethical climate. And we chose outcomes such as employee compassion, creative behavior, job performance, and job stress. So these are the outcomes that we chose to focus on. I will directly come to the hypothesis, and they were that rules ethical climate will be positively related to job performance, creative behavior, and job stress, and negatively to job stress. There will be a curvilinear relationship whereby inverted U relationship is observed. Psychological empowerment, how empowered or how free people believe they are, will moderate the relationship. Idea was that if people feel that they are empowered, it will restrict them to a lesser extent when they are facing a highly restrictive ethical climate. So, the idea was that psychological empowerment will moderate the relationship between ethical climate and organizational outcomes. We collected data both in Canada and Pakistan. The data results that I'm presenting here is for Canada only. It was a two-wave study. It was all self-reported, but at two different times with 1 month apart. We had 466 responses in the first wave, 427 in the second wave. They were all full-time contractual employees, and we collected data through Prolific. It was a prolific and Qualtrics combined platform through which we collected the data. And then we used M+. And of course, we did use SPSS, but, M+ seems more catchy, so we present that. The measures that we use, rules and ethical climates, Victor and Cullen, 1988, 4 items, psychological empowerment, Spritzer, 1995, 12 items. Similarly, all these stress, Parker and Decotes, very well established 13-item scale. And we got the reliabilities all above 0.85. So it was, alpha reliabilities were very, very good. Correlations were generally in expected direction. No surprises there. So we moved on to the next step, and that was CFAs. That actually I should have mentioned that before, just to see that despite that we had 2 wave data, 2 separate times, we still had self-reported data. So we did a factor analysis, which clearly indicated that a 6-factor model was a superior fit to all alternate explanations or all alternate models. So, that gives us confidence in the discriminant validity of the variables used. These are the results. These are the results from SPSS. And as you can see, the curvilinear relationship, I'm sorry, I am unable to see my screen fully. Okay, now I can. Perceived compassion and job stress. This is what you are seeing in terms of outcomes. So if you can see that the squared term was significant for compassion and stress. And what you see as XWINT is the interaction term between the independent variable and the moderator, psychological empowerment. And the final step, WX care, is the interaction between squared term, like the U-term relationship, and the moderator. So you see that it is significant for simple interaction was not significant, but curvilinear interaction was significant for compassion, but not for job stress. Next one, once again, these are outcomes for the curvilinear relationship, for job performance. And once again, that you see that, the curve relationship has significant indirect relationship with that, which shows that the curvilinear relationship was moderated by psychological empowerment. Same goes for compassion that you see in the next one. There were no significant effects for job stress in terms of any moderation or curvilinear moderation. So these were the main findings. We are still working on these things. We are still in initial phases. We are conducting more analysis. We have the Pakistani sample now available. So we are working on that. And then we will be comparing the both data sets and giving more insights into that. So primarily our initial results indicate that yes, too much of something can be too good, but we are still into exploring these interactions further and the curvilinear effects also. So I will hesitate to, but we did make this slide, but I will stop the resistance, the motivation to go for making tall claims, because we are still exploring this further in terms of what it could mean. But yeah, psychological empowerment does seem to have moderating effects. So we are confident that it does have an effect, intended positive effect in terms of what we were expecting. So practical implications, once again, most important is that, we should be careful that when it comes to rules and ethical climate, we should not try to enforce or try to propagate something where it becomes too much, where it becomes too limiting for employees, where they feel it is being restrictive, too micro in nature. So that would be the, but generally, not everything works everywhere or not for everyone. So employers should also be mindful of personality. That is actually the next leg of our project, where we are exploring how personality can further impact. So how different people might behave differently to certain kind of climates or cultures. Limitations we are focused on to individual level, common method variance, no matter how many CFAs and other things, like I myself as a reviewer always go after self-reported data. So I have to be honest and say that that might be a problem, but we are hoping that time lag data and significant interactions can somehow mitigate that. The second one that we talk about, we are already working on that. We now have Pakistani data available, so we will discuss that further, hopefully in another conference or something. So that's about it from my side. If there